And I want to reassure you that if we remain united and resolute, then we will overcome it.
For nearly 3 decades, one woman stood closer to Queen Elizabeth than almost anyone else alive. She witnessed secrets. She held confidences. She saw the monarch in ways the world never could. Vulnerable, unguarded, human. Now, at 67, Angela Kelly has done something unthinkable. She's spoken. What happens when the person who dressed a queen, who shared her laughter and absorbed her tears, finally decides the world deserves to know the truth? What did Elizabeth whisper in those private moments when the cameras stopped rolling and the palace doors closed? How did Britain's longest reigning monarch survive the unbearable loneliness that came with wearing the crown? The answers will shock you. They'll move you. And they might just shatter everything you thought you knew about royalty. Before we dive deeper, drop a comment with the number 1. If you're ready for revelations the palace tried desperately to keep hidden, because what you're about to discover changes everything. From Liverpool to the palace. Picture this: a young girl growing up in Liverpool, 1957. Cramped rooms, in a council estate, no silver spoons, no royal connections, just hard work, calloused hands, and dreams that seemed impossibly distant. Angela Kelly's father spent his days operating cranes on the docks. Her mother wore a nurse's uniform and came home exhausted each night. Money was tight, opportunities were scarce. The idea that this working-class girl would one day become the most trusted person in Buckingham Palace? Absolutely unthinkable. Yet Angela carried something with her that no amount of privilege could buy: authenticity. That thick Scouse accent never faded, never softened, never disappeared to fit palace expectations. It remained her signature, a defiant reminder that she belonged to Liverpool as much as she would eventually belong to the Queen. But how does someone from the Liverpool docks end up in the inner sanctum of British royalty? The path was anything but straight. Angela's first steps into royal circles were humble. She wasn't designing gowns or selecting jewels. She was scrubbing floors as a palace housekeeper, invisible to most. Just another face in the endless parade of staff maintaining the massive machinery of monarchy. Then came 1992. Everything changed. Angela was working at the British Embassy in Berlin, serving under Ambassador Sir Christopher Malaby. It was October when Queen Elizabeth and Prince Philip arrived for an official visit. Most staff trembled at the prospect of meeting royalty, rehearsing proper protocols, terrified of making mistakes. Not Angela. She approached the Queen with natural ease, striking up conversation as if they were neighbors meeting at a market. During their chat, Angela casually mentioned her plans to return home to Britain soon. The Queen listened, smiled, and moved on. That should have been the end of it. A brief encounter, a forgettable moment. Except it wasn't. Something in that conversation stuck with Elizabeth. Perhaps it was Angela's unpretentious manner. Maybe it was the refreshing lack of nervous formality. Whatever the reason, when Angela returned to the UK months later, an unexpected letter arrived. A royal invitation. The Queen wanted Angela to join her household staff. Can you imagine receiving that letter? One casual conversation transforming your entire existence? Earning the Crown's trust. Angela entered Buckingham Palace in early 1993 as one of several dressers, assistants responsible for helping the Queen with her wardrobe. It was an honor, certainly, but not particularly special. Dressers came and went. Few made lasting impressions. Angela was different. Within just 3 years, she'd risen to senior dresser. But it wasn't the promotion that mattered. It was who she was replacing. Bobo MacDonald had been more than the Queen's dresser. She'd been Elizabeth's childhood companion, her confidant since they were young girls, the keeper of a lifetime of secrets. When Bobo passed away, she left a void that seemed impossible to fill. How do you replace someone who knew a queen before she became a queen? You don't. You can't. But Angela didn't try to become Bobo. She became something else entirely, herself. She studied Elizabeth with careful attention, not just her clothing preferences, but her rhythms. When did she want conversation? When did she need silence? What made her smile? What subjects brought clouds across her face? Angela didn't just dress the Queen. She understood her. And slowly, remarkably, something beautiful happened. They became friends, real friends. Not the stiff, formal relationship between monarch and servant, but something genuine and warm. Think about that for a moment. In a world where every interaction is choreographed, every word measured, every gesture calculated. Two women from completely different worlds, the Queen began trusting Angela with more than clothing choices. She trusted her with thoughts, feelings, frustrations. Angela eventually moved into the palace itself, no longer just visiting for work, but becoming a permanent fixture in Elizabeth's daily existence. "I love the Queen and everything about her," Angela would later admit. "She allowed me to get close to her, and she trusted me for a very long time." But here's what's truly remarkable. Angela earned a title no one in modern royal history had held. She became the personal advisor and manager to the Queen's jewels, insignia, not just a dresser, not just a designer, an advisor, someone the Queen consulted on matters of image, presentation, and public perception. How did a girl from a Liverpool council estate achieve this? What made Angela so special that the most guarded woman in the world opened up to her? The answer lies in what happened next, in the painstaking, invisible work that nobody saw. The invisible architecture of majesty. Here's what most people don't understand about dressing a queen. It's not fashion, it's strategy. When Elizabeth appeared in public wearing a bright yellow coat, it wasn't because yellow was trending. When she pinned a particular brooch to her lapel, it wasn't random decoration. Every single choice, every color, every accessory, every fabric carried meaning. Angela wasn't selecting outfits. She was crafting messages. Imagine the pressure. The Queen has a state visit to Kenya scheduled for November. You need to design her wardrobe. But you can't wait until October to start planning. You need to begin in spring. Why? Because you need to research Kenyan culture, understand the political climate, consider weather patterns, respect local customs, source appropriate fabrics, and create garments that honor the host nation while still maintaining royal dignity. Oh, and everything needs to be comfortable enough for the Queen to wear through hours of standing, walking, and ceremony. No pressure, right? Angela revealed something fascinating in her memoir. The Queen's famously vibrant wardrobe wasn't about fashion preferences, it was about visibility. Bright purples, bold yellows, clear blues. These colors made Elizabeth stand out in massive crowds. Whether people were watching from distant balconies, pressed against barriers, or viewing from television screens thousands of miles away, they needed to see their Queen. The clothing was tactical, functional, strategic, but Angela's work went deeper than new creations. She was also a guardian of history. The royal archives contained fabric rolls dating back to 1961. Exquisite silks, delicate laces, rich brocades, carefully preserved for decades. Lesser designers might have ignored these materials, always chasing new trends. Not Angela, and certainly not the Queen. Elizabeth detested waste. She believed in quality, durability, and respect for the past. If fabric remained beautiful, why not use it? So Angela became an alchemist of sorts, transforming vintage materials into contemporary garments. Can you imagine the skill that requires, taking 50-year-old fabric and making it look fresh, elegant, and appropriate for a modern monarch? But perhaps the most touching detail Angela ever shared was this. She wore the Queen's new shoes herself, walking palace corridors for hours until the leather softened and molded properly. Nobody asked her to do this. It wasn't in any job description. She simply knew it mattered. She understood that even small discomforts could ruin an important day for the Queen. That's love, isn't it? Quiet, uncelebrated acts of service that nobody sees, but everything depends on. The meticulous world behind the wardrobe. Step inside Angela's workspace for a moment. Forget the glamorous image you might have of fashion studios with dramatic music and champagne. This was something different entirely. Her area resembled a museum archive more than a design studio. Every outfit was cataloged with meticulous precision. Handwritten notes, fabric samples, detailed photographs, all carefully labeled and organized. Why? Because the Queen could never appear at major events in the same ensemble twice. The public expected variety, and Angela ensured they got it. But here's the clever part. Repetition wasn't forbidden. Angela frequently breathed new life into existing garments. Different brooches, various hats, multiple choices. She offered suggestions, never commands. Every decision emerged from collaboration, from the deep trust they'd built over years. Think about that dynamic. How many people in the Queen's life could offer genuine opinions rather than simply following orders? The world praised Elizabeth II's timeless elegance, her impeccable style, her perfect presentation, but they had no idea about the sleepless nights, the exhaustive research, the obsessive attention to detail happening behind the scenes. Angela ensured ensured nothing was left to chance. The precise shade of gloves, the symbolic significance of a brooch, the angle of a hat, the drape of a coat. Every microscopic detail mattered because everything communicated something. But Angela's role extended far beyond routine preparation. She was present for the truly historic moments, the occasions that would be remembered for generations. And one of those moments? Nobody saw it coming. When the Queen became James Bond, July 27, 2012. The London Olympics opening ceremony, billions watching worldwide, expectations sky high for a spectacular British showcase. Then something happened that made the entire planet do a double take. Queen Elizabeth II appeared on screen in a filmed sequence, sitting at her desk in Buckingham Palace. The camera revealed her visitor, James Bond himself, played by Daniel Craig, dressed in his iconic tuxedo. The Queen looked up calmly and delivered a line that sent shockwaves around the world. Her Majesty and 007 walked through palace corridors, boarded a helicopter, soared over London's landmarks, and then, in a moment of pure theatrical brilliance, appeared to parachute into Olympic Stadium itself. Moments later, the real Queen appeared live in the royal box. The crowd went absolutely wild. This wasn't just entertainment, it was revolutionary. For the first time in history, the monarch had shown a playful, surprisingly modern side of herself to the entire world. She'd participated in comedy, embraced popular culture, and revealed she possessed a sense of humor few had ever witnessed. Who convinced her to do it? Who gave her the confidence to break centuries of rigid protocol? Angela Kelly. Angela had seen Elizabeth's mischievous side in private, the quick wit, the dry humor, the woman beneath the crown who actually enjoyed a good laugh. When director Danny Boyle proposed the Olympic stunt, conventional wisdom said the Queen would refuse. Too undignified, too risky, too modern. But Angela understood something others didn't. She knew Elizabeth wanted to connect with younger generations. She recognized this as an opportunity, not a risk, so she encouraged it, not with pressure, but with gentle support. She helped Elizabeth see that dignity and playfulness weren't opposites. They could coexist beautifully, and the Queen trusted her enough to take the leap. Can you imagine being the person who convinces a monarch into an Olympic stadium? That's the level of trust and influence Angela had achieved. Laughter behind palace walls. The Olympic moment revealed something important. Angela and the Queen shared genuine friendship, complete with inside jokes and pranks. Angela once recounted a perfect example, an April Fool's Day prank that shows just how comfortable they'd become with each other. Angela carefully positioned a lifelike stuffed kookaburra outside the Queen's window. Then, with complete seriousness, she informed Elizabeth that a rare Australian bird had mysteriously appeared at the palace, seemingly drawn by the Commonwealth's mystical energy. The Queen approached the window with careful curiosity, examining the bird with genuine interest. Angela maintained her poker face. Then Elizabeth turned, fixed Angela with a knowing look, and said dryly, "You're joking!" And they both laughed. Not the careful, public laughter of formal occasions, but real, warm, genuine amusement. Think about what that moment represents. How many people could playfully trick the Queen of England and have her genuinely enjoy it? This wasn't a typical employer-employee relationship. These were two women who'd transcended palace hierarchy to find real friendship in an environment where authentic connection seemed impossible. But Angela's support went far beyond humor. She was there for the high-pressure moments, too, standing just off-screen before major events, making final adjustments to earrings, ensuring hats sat at perfect angles, smoothing coat fabric. The public saw elegance and poise. They never saw the quiet friend providing emotional support in those final seconds before the performance began. Resurrecting history with tea. But Angela's most extraordinary work might have been a project that had nothing to do with state banquets or Olympic ceremonies. It involved something far more intimate, protecting royal history itself. In 2004, the Queen approached Angela with an unusual request. She wanted to preserve the royal christening gown, but not in a museum. She wanted it alive, still being used, still connecting generations. This wasn't just any gown. Created in 1841 for Queen Victoria's eldest daughter, it had been worn at christenings by over 60 royal babies across nearly 2 centuries. The Queen's own children had worn it, her grandchildren, her great-grandchildren. But by 2004, the Spitalfields silk and Honiton lace had grown dangerously fragile. The gown couldn't survive another ceremony without falling apart. The solution seemed obvious: create a replica. But Elizabeth didn't want just any copy. She wanted something that captured the soul of the original, a gown that honored tradition while being strong enough for future generations. She trusted only one person with this sacred task: Angela. Angela approached it with reverence. She studied every detail of the original gown, every stitch pattern, every lace configuration, the exact weight and drape of the fabric. After extensive research, she sourced magnificent lace from Italy, famous for exceptional textile craftsmanship. But then she hit a problem. The new lace looked too new. It lacked the soft, aged, golden quality of the original. If she proceeded, the gown would look like a modern costume rather than a living piece of history. Most designers would have panicked. Angela got creative. Her solution? Yorkshire tea. By carefully dyeing the lace in brewed tea, she gave it that subtle golden patina, just enough age without looking worn. It was brilliant problem-solving that blended historical accuracy with practical innovation. When the gown was finally complete, it made its debut at the 2008 christening of James, Viscount Severn. The moment was quiet but profound, a new chapter in royal tradition, honoring the past while embracing the future. Since then, the gown has been worn by Prince George, Princess Charlotte, Prince Louis, and Archie Harrison. Each time those delicate fabrics appear, they carry Angela's dedication woven into every thread. But Angela's greatest test of loyalty was yet to come, during a global crisis that would transform everything. Inside HMS Bubble. March 2020. The world stopped. COVID-19 transformed daily life everywhere, including behind palace walls. Windsor Castle, usually bustling with staff, events, and ceremony, fell into eerie silence. Tours cancelled, events postponed, the grandeur stripped away. What remained? An elderly couple isolating in near-total seclusion, and a small group willing to sacrifice everything to protect them. They called it HMS Bubble. Approximately 20 staff members who agreed to isolate completely with Queen Elizabeth and Prince Philip. No leaving, no family visits, no breaks. For months, they surrendered their personal lives entirely. Angela Kelly was among them. Think about what that decision meant. She could have declined. She could have prioritized her own family, her own safety, her own comfort. Nobody would have blamed her. But she didn't hesitate. The Queen needed her, so she stayed. Inside the bubble, Angela's role exploded beyond anything her job description covered. With minimal staff, she became housekeeper, companion, and even hairstylist. Before the Queen's video calls and official photographs, Angela carefully styled her hair herself, shaping every curl with the same precision she'd always used, but now completely alone, without her usual team of specialists. Meals became simpler, days quieter. The palace corridors, once echoing with activity, now stretched empty and silent. Yet within that isolation, something beautiful emerged. Angela and Elizabeth's bond deepened even further. They shared afternoon tea, sometimes talking, sometimes sitting in comfortable silence. Without the constant press of royal duties, they simply were together. And then came April 9th, 2021. Prince Philip died. The Queen lost her husband of 73 years, her partner, her anchor, her companion through 7 decades of monarchy. The grief was crushing, incomprehensible. Angela was there, not as staff, as a friend. No cameras captured those moments. No press releases described the Queen's private pain. But Angela stood beside her, offering quiet support, helping Elizabeth navigate the unbearable while the world watched from a distance. When the Queen attended Philip's funeral, sitting alone, masked, socially distanced in that heart-wrenching image that circled the globe, who do you think helped her prepare that morning? Who ensured she had the strength to face that impossible day? The memoir that shocked the world. When the pandemic finally eased and life slowly returned to some version of normal, Angela made a decision that sent shockwaves through royal circles. She decided to write about it, all of it. For generations, royal staff had lived by an unspoken rule: silence, never speak publicly. never share stories, never cross the invisible boundary between private service and public revelation. Angela shattered that silence. But here's the truly extraordinary part. She had permission. The Queen herself had given Angela her blessing to write about their relationship, not after Elizabeth's death, not after retirement, but while the Queen was still alive, still reigning. Can you grasp how unprecedented that was? A monarch who'd spent her entire life guarding privacy, who'd perfected the art of revealing nothing, essentially told Angela, "Tell them about me. Let them see who I really am." The resulting memoir, The Other Side of the Coin, The Queen, the Dresser, and the Wardrobe, became an instant sensation. But not because it contained scandals or betrayals. It shocked people because it offered something far rarer: honesty, intimacy, humanity. Angela didn't expose secrets. She shared moments. The time they laughed over a wardrobe malfunction, the Queen's unexpected joke during a serious occasion, the way Elizabeth carefully selected jewelry based on personal meaning rather than protocol. For the first time, readers got glimpses of the woman behind the crown. Not the symbol, not the institution, but Elizabeth, complex, funny, occasionally stubborn, deeply thoughtful. The public loved it. The memoir became a bestseller, celebrated for its warmth and respect. But not everyone was pleased. Palace insiders whispered. Some claimed Angela had overstepped. Others suggested she'd grown too close, too familiar, too willing to share what should remain hidden. Yet Angela hadn't betrayed anyone. She'd honored the Queen's explicit wish to be seen more fully, more honestly, and she'd done it with care, respect, and genuine love. The Secret Wish. The memoir revealed many surprises, but perhaps the most striking was something nobody had expected: the Queen's secret wish. For decades, Elizabeth II had been photographed in carefully staged portraits, always formal, always composed, always maintaining the image of untouchable royalty. But privately, she yearned for something different. Angela revealed that the Queen wanted to be photographed informally, showing a relaxed, authentic version of herself that the public rarely saw.
Thank you, Mr. Prime Minister of Canada, for making me feel so old.
She wanted to show vulnerability. She wanted to be seen as human. Angela arranged a private photo session. No official photographers, no press, no palace PR team hovering. Just Angela, a camera, and the Queen. One photograph from that session became particularly striking. Elizabeth standing casually, hands tucked in her pockets. Such a simple gesture, but profoundly meaningful. It showed a woman at ease, released from the constant weight of performing monarchy. That image represented quiet rebellion. After decades of rigid protocol, Elizabeth was claiming a small piece of freedom, the freedom to be seen as herself. Angela's memoir also highlighted the Queen's remarkable practicality. Elizabeth regularly reused and recycled decades-old fabrics rather than always demanding new materials. She accepted April Fool's pranks with good humor. She made decisions based on personal values rather than simply following tradition. These revelations transformed public perception. Angela's respectful storytelling humanized the Queen, showing her as a real person with quirks, preferences, and emotions. So here we are, at the end of Angela Kelly's extraordinary story. A girl from Liverpool council housing who became the closest confidant of the world's most famous woman, who dressed a queen, but more importantly, who knew her, really knew her. Angela showed us that behind the crown, beneath the ceremony, beyond the protocol, lived a woman who laughed, who grieved, who wanted to be understood as more than just a symbol. The question now is for you. Has this changed how you see Queen Elizabeth? After learning about her secret wish to be seen differently, about the private jokes and genuine friendship with Angela, about the humanity hidden behind decades of royal performance, has your understanding of the Queen transformed? And here's something else worth considering. Why do you think Elizabeth finally decided to let Angela share these stories? What was she trying to tell us in those final years? Share your thoughts in the comments below. Let's talk about the woman behind the crown, the friendship that transcended class and protocol, and the legacy of honesty Angela Kelly has given us. Thank you for joining me on this journey through one of the most remarkable relationships in modern royal history.